Welcome to Beyond the Cab podcast, where heavy machinery meets real stories. I'm your host, Josh Williams, along with my co-host, Sean Eveden, and I'd like to introduce Hank Harder III, Executive Board Auditor, 36-year member, an accomplished steward, and an outright legend in Local 17. How you doing, Hank?
Good. Yourself, Josh?
Good, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
This is kind of a long-awaited one I want to do since I started the idea with Beyond the Cab. We were like, man, I can't wait to get Hank in. It's going to be some good stuff. We've had a lot of good discussions over a couple beers and laughter and just hanging out and talking about stuff, and I'd like to get that out here today to the rest of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's start in with some talk about where it all began. How did you end up becoming into the world of heavy equipment operating?
My father at one point was vice president of the union, and he ran the training school for a certain amount of years. I think about maybe 5 or 6, but at the time when I got in, he was an instructor here. Fred I was running the school. Mm-hmm. John Gillen was doing the mechanics in the shop, and he was an instructor, him and Dick Larson,
Gotcha.
Senior. And my dad approached me. I finished high school, really had no direction. I ran equipment when I was in high school. I worked for the DPW on summers, and I would run skid steers and loaders, but really not. Never thought I'd find myself in where I am today.
But your dad ran equipment for a living before he became an instructor, right?
Correct, yes. He was about a 35-year member, I believe he was when he retired.
So you remember him just being like an operator as far as like that was his job for a while?
Oh, yeah. That's all I remember him doing, actually, except a couple of lean years he had to go. He started a hardware store at one point in time, and then...
oh, really?
He actually went to work for the DPW. Work was so slow back then. And he had to actually leave and find something else to do. There was no work out there. So he came back, and I think it was when Leo and Tommy came back into power is when he came back into with them. So
Gotcha. So that was, how old were you when you got in, or we can talk about how you got in, but how old were you then?
I was 20.
20 years old. Wow, that was young.
Yep. It was in 89 I got in. Yep.
89.
Yeah, I got real lucky. I owe it all to my father getting me in and get me where I am today. There's no doubt about it.
So you're working for the DPW. Your dad said, hey, why don't you join the union? Or you kind of had that idea?
Oh, no, I was working for the DPW when I was in high school. And to tell you the God's honest truth, I didn't have any direction when I left high school. Gotcha. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was working various jobs. And my dad, I think, realized that I needed some direction in my life. And he was letting me find my own way. And finally, he approached me and asked me if this something that I would consider doing.
Oh, cool.
And he knew that I ran equipment before, and he said, you have a knack for it, so it's just something that you would be interested in. And I told him yes, definitely was.
Nice.
It was at the right time in the right place that I could get into the union at the time.
What year was this then?
89.
So how did the application or the get into the apprenticeship go back then?
A lot of nepotism.
Yeah.
No. It was my dad's best friend was Leo Hopkins, who was the business manager. And then his second best friend was Tommy Hopkins, who was president. So it really was
kind of had some pull.
Sort of a formality. But I hate to say it, but I speak the truth. You know it don't bother me at all. It's not what you know; it's who you know.
But you had to go through the application.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Right. My background and all that, and
your name just got put to the top of the pile.
Yeah, and back then you didn't need a CDL. They didn't have that requirement. You didn't need a CDL, so. I had some experience, you know what I mean? It's not like I came in totally green. I had about 4 summers of running. And my dad, like I said, he was actually working the DPW the 1 year, so he was there too. And he made sure I got on the equipment here and there. So
Right. So how did things go when you were in the apprenticeship? I remember you and I talking about some stories of some of the crane operators you worked around.
Oh, yeah. My dad... Near the end of my career as an apprentice, he wanted me to be a crane operator. He was pointing me towards being a crane operator. So he put me with, at the time, you had Bernie Seeley, and then you had your uncle. He was considered the 2 best crane operators, so he put me with Bernie Seeley the last 2 years.
Bobby Barrett,
yes. Bobby Barrett and Bernie Seeley were considered probably the 2 best crane operators in the local. And he put me with Bernie Seeley the last 2 years to push me towards becoming a crane operator. I worked for Bernie Seeley probably for about the last 18 months of my career as an apprentice.
Now, did you guys have the same thing like Sean and I had where 1 week was dirt and 1 week was crane?
No, actually back then is we mostly did the dirt in the summer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then come winter time, we were always on the cranes because there was less dirt work to do. And then when you got closer to like the first 2 years, they mostly concentrated on dirt. It was my dad and Dick Larson, but more Dick Larson. The projects that we had to do, like around town, like how you guys do, they do now, and when they did for the town of Hamburg, we did the Boy Scout camp over on 98. And it would be Dick Larson was running them, and it's pretty much do that in the summertime, and then in the wintertime when there's not dirt work going on, we'd be in the cranes. But they emphasize the crane license pretty hard.
Yeah, that's
the last year, 2 years, you were in that crane quite a bit. Half the time you were in that school, you were on one of them cranes.
Did you take your crane test in your 4th year, or was it after you graduated?
No, it was my 4th year. Yep.
Okay,
took it with my dad. I'm like standing on the catwalk.
Oh wow! No pressure there, huh?
No. My leg was shaking like you wouldn't believe. Yeah. I can picture it today. Yeah.
What about Bernie? How was he to oil for?
Crazy to oil for. Great guy. He was an ex-Marine. I heard you talking on your caster about Marines. I was never in the military, but
me either.
If you were walking across the floor in front of him and you fell down, that cab door opened up and he'd be screaming at you to stand up, you stupid son of a whatever. You know what I mean? He's a tough guy to work for, but he knew his job.
He knew his job.
A true professional.
Good crane operator like that.
What I was told when I oiled for him, I think he was 64 years old at the time. I was told he was running a crane when he was 17.
17 years old.
Rupp Rental. Used to be Rupp Rental. And they used to rent out cranes too.
Wow.
Rupp Rental was a Komatsu deal.
Right, I remember that.
Back in the day. But when I was told Bernie was running a crane from 17 to 6, when he retired at 64, 65 when I was with him.
That's great. That's a long time.
Very, very knowledgeable. He put me in it quite a few times. We were doing UB Stadium, the precast, and the news was there, and I set the last piece of precast that they broke the champagne over, and I was on the news.
Really?
Running the crane. Bernie was on the catwalk.
And this is...
I was a third-year apprentice at that time.
1991, right around there?
Yeah, wow. 91, 92.
You were on the news.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, it was, you couldn't, if you had to zoom in back then, you know what I mean? It was just a picture of the whole crane, but...
Wow.
But he gave me the opportunities, definitely, and I learned quite a bit, and he always had me in it, you know what I mean?
What about the dirt side? Did you get to work for some good contractors in the dirt and learn some stuff there?
That's my father put me with. I didn't always get. There was people that got a lot more hours than me, but the one thing I got to say about my father, he put me with people that taught me how to run equipment, and that was really the key that I needed because I was a little bit green coming in there. Sure, there were some other people that probably had more experience than me, but. He put me with people that he knew we would teach. Donnie Pritchard Sr. is a big one of them. Most of the jobs that I got sent out on, Donnie was usually the master mechanic or the steward, or Gary was the master mechanic, and they made sure I got on the equipment. Gary Long, Tom Easterbrook. Tom Easterbrook taught me a lot about excavating.
Was that Brett's father?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep.
Let's jump back here for a second. Second generation, growing up as a kid, you didn't even think about running equipment. What, you know what I mean, like family picnics, stuff like you. I mean, you said your dad was good friends with Leo and Tommy, and what was it like growing up? You know what I mean? Like obviously they family picnics, different events, certain stuff that happened. You said work got slow. You know, he had to go find work elsewhere. What was, you know what I mean? Obviously they were friends. You know, they're at parties, stuff like that. How was that?
As far as like. From my perspective?
Yeah, just as a kid, and then you never even thought about, like, you know, instead of being like, yeah, that's what I want to do when I grow up.
It just never entered my mind. It never really did. To tell you the God's honest truth, I was too busy partying. I hate to say it, but
all right.
Yeah,
I had a good time when I was young.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, that's a God's honest truth. I didn't have much direction. And and to tell you the truth, it separated me and my father a little bit when I got out of high school. And so for a year or two, you know, we really didn't talk that much. And then he approached me, and it was really a game changer for me. Yeah.
Oh,
it really never entered my mind, you know what I mean? I never thought, that's what I want to do, or that's not what I don't want to do. I just cared about where the next party was.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So you did a lot in dirt when you were in your first couple of years of apprenticeship. How many hours did you guys get back then, like averaging in the apprenticeship?
I never got 1,000. I was in there for 4 years. I don't think at one time. There was a couple of guys because the Galleria Mall just broke loose. Work was pretty tough back then. And the Galleria was sort of the change of it all. When the Galleria came in, they did the Galleria, and I know a couple of guys that went out there, Dave Kopnick and Ray Janzik.
They were apprentices with you?
Yeah, they were
okay.
Fliskowski, and they were a year ahead of me, 2 years ahead of me.
Right.
And they ended up on the Galleria Mall. They were really the only ones that ever got over 1,000 hours when I was in there. I mean, I think I averaged maybe 600 to 800 hours, somewhere in there.
Right. So as far as at the training center, that I know we've got a lot of really nice equipment now and GPS stuff and everything else, but back then there was a lot of government.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't great equipment to train on, right? I mean, it was
the newest thing they had is they bought a 225 that had a 4-cylinder and it could barely put the bucket in the ground. You'd sit there like, I mean, I learned on a foot case 580 backhoe.
it's still over there.
Is it still?
I don't know. There's one over there. I'm not sure if it's still the same one.
Yeah.
Probably is the same one.
Yeah.
And
Right.
the case 450s with the 4 levers down here that you play, you dance around with,
Right.
you put it in neutral, high and low.
Okay.
They didn't. Those were the dozers. They had a grader, the pans. They were all.
Did you ever get involved in? I'm hearing the stories when I was there about they went down south to grab the pans. They drove 2 of them back from like Maryland or something like that.
I wasn't involved in it, but I heard stories about
Yeah.
it. I heard the
before
brakes
you?
gave out coming down the road, and Dan Aliverdi had to trap the bull on the highway to get it to stop. I wasn't there, but that's just the story I heard. I don't know. I think they just picked the bull up and kept trucking. But
Sure, yeah. That's how you stopped them back then. I remember when I worked non-union, we did the same. We rode a couple of pans from somewhere in Hamburg over to the new Walmart on, well, it was new then, but the one on Southwestern, and you had to stop. You just put the bowl down. Yeah. TS14s right into the
Imagine doing that nowadays. How many cameras would you? How many pictures you'd have of yourself?
Oh,
doing
yeah.
that?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that was. I think that was like a year before I got in.
Okay, yeah. That's a neat. I got to figure out who to get on this podcast that can tell that story because I couldn't imagine roading a pan from wherever that was. It was a long ways and driving.
Probably
it
the
back
Boy
here.
Scout camp. On Route 98, I would think.
No, when they bought them, they got them from the government. It was like a transfer from the government. Then Local 17 got them, but they had to get them from wherever they were to here, and they drove them on the road. Yeah, it was like a week journey or something.
I remember that story. I just didn't know where they were coming from.
There's all these legends that you hear about the stories, but I want to hear from the guy that actually drove it. Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. So you graduate there. Where was you remember your first job as a journeyman? Like the first day getting out of there and going someplace as a
I got sent out on a pipeline in Canandaigua.
Canandaigua? That's 158.
Well, that's the
Well, it'd be 32
That's
back
where
then.
there was no work.
That's where you went.
I got cleared in.
Were you oiling or running?
No, I was running. Yeah.
Okay. What'd you get to run?
A hole. I was on a hole right away.
What crew?
I was on the tie-in crew.
Oh, man. You got right in the money right away?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, Bobby Pritchard was a BA, 20-year BA, and he sent me out. I was, as soon as I got out, I think it was about a week or two later, he called me up and asked me if I wanted to go to Canandaigua. Well, that line was actually running through Grand Island.
Okay.
At the time.
Empire line, maybe? Or was the Empire?
It might have been the Empire. Did the Empire come out of Canada, go through Grand Island?
Yeah.
They go through North Tonawanda.
It does. I
So
believe that's where it
would
goes.
definitely be the Empire.
That where they had there was a brine line back then, but it wasn't the brine line.
wasn't the brine
Yeah,
line,
it was the
no.
Empire line. All right, so you got to run a hole in the tying crew?
Yeah,
no
yeah.
training for pipeline back then, right? Just get in and
No,
run it.
not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They gave me the opportunity, you know what I mean? And then they were good guys that I got.
You met some interesting characters there.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I wasn't with a big bunch of guys, and I think that was better off.
Yeah,
you
small
know
crew.
what I mean? Smaller crew, yeah.
And where were you living then?
I was living in the city of Tonawanda.
So
on
how far
Niagara
was
Street.
so it was a kind of hike?
I could see
Canandaigua.
Grand Island from my house.
Right.
When that pipeline was coming through.
And you
I
had
was
to drive
driving an hour and a half east every day.
And where were you driving back then? What'd you have?
Cutlass Supreme.
Nice. Yeah. There you go.
Big old boat.
Yeah, that's cool.
The one day the spread boss came up to me and said, "We're moving east." And I says, he told me, "We're moving the spread." I go, "Which way?" The warehouse. And I says, "Which way you moving?" He said, "East." I says, "I've had enough," because I wasn't going to, but work was coming back home.
Right.
I ended up coming back home. I went on Autumn Technical, I think is the name of it. It was a hazardous waste job.
Oh, wow. You had your Haswapper card back then? for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Everybody, all the apprentices, no matter what, they had to have all their certifications and everything before they got out.
I can't remember what year they started the Haswapper program, but obviously it was sooner than that then.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Probably
think.
in the 80s, I think, is when they did it.
Yeah, early 80s, I'd
I
say.
saw some pictures of Smoker back then where he was quite a bit younger, and I'm like, it had to be in the 80s.
Oh, when he was going through?
Well, he was teaching it or going through one of the two. I can't remember.
Well, he was-
We just pulled
in the
them pictures
apprenticeship
out for
with
the
me.
125th. We found
yeah,
all of
that's
them.
it.
Yep,
Right,
yep,
right.
yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
So Smoker was year ahead of me in the apprenticeship.
Oh,
I was
okay.
in the same class as Smoker, but he was just a year or 2 years ahead of me.
All right, then I got my 2 years mixed up. Then
I
when
say
they
because
started.
it could have been. Yeah,
Probably when he's going through it. Then, yeah.
I was going to say probably going through it.
Yeah. So, okay, pipeline. Then what else did you get into?
I got
Other
into
this?
autumn technical. I did that for the rest of the season.
Okay.
And the following year, I was actually walking a picket line with my father up in Niagara County. For the life of me, I tried to remember where it was and what we were picking.
In 463's territory.
In 463.
Yep.
And a business agent from there walked up to my dad. Eddie Loza walked up to my dad and says, "Do you know anybody looking for work? I need a guy to go run a dozer." He says, "Yeah, my son. He's standing right here." And he sent me to work for Hasley Trucking.
Oh boy! After that was the end of that. You got a good job there, right?
7 years I was with Hasley Trucking.
Wow.
Yeah.
Landfill work.
Landfill and site work, a lot of site work near the end. We started out with landfill, but back then you didn't have all them strip plazas that you have now. You didn't have any of them tops or the
Okay.
big Home Depot, the big plazas.
Yep.
And Benderson Development was big into that development, and Hasley had an in with Benderson. So we started doing all them strip malls.
Hasley, I know they were like the biggest landfill contractor up there for a while. There was a ton of clay pits and which landfill do you remember?
Oh, I worked on all of them, actually. I worked at the BFI up in the
How many
Falls.
landfills are up there?
Well, there's the ones in Tonawanda. I worked at them quite a bit. Indian Church Road, we capped that one. There's the BFIs. There's Seacoast up in the Falls, and then there's Chem Waste that's in Newport. Chem Waste was their bread and butter. It was the big money.
Okay.
It was like they had an open contract with them. They had to either, if they weren't putting a cell in, they were capping something. But that was their bread and butter right there. Well, not their bread and butter. The reason Hasley became so successful at landfills is because if you picked up a phone book back then, looked in a phone book and looked underneath the name Hasley, there were 7 pages of Hasleys.
Wow, big family, you mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, and they had the clay in Niagara County.
Gotcha.
That clay, the permeability was good. That and Grand Island, I was told, but you can't take the clay off of Grand Island, but you could take the clay out of Lockport, Pendleton, that area.
Okay.
And the Hasleys was a big farm family, and they owned a lot of property. They just started putting ponds in their backyards, and they were getting
That's where the money was, selling the clay.
The clay. Owning the clay was the key in, and
Wow.
then they got Hasley back in the time where they employed, I bet you, 80-90% of 463. At one point in time when they were really big, they had over 200 pieces of iron running in Western New York.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a lot of dozers, a lot of trucks, clay pits.
So this would have been like, so let's say let's talk about the dozers that you ran on the landfills. D6Rs? Or is it
No,
before
a lot of them were 5s. They used a
Fives?
lot of 5s. Yeah, the 6s were pretty heavy on the sides of the landfill, so
Okay.
they used 5s.
5H?
And you just yeah.
LGP stuff, though, right?
LGP, absolutely. You had
Open
to have
cab.
LGP, yeah. See, back then, Cat come out with the high track.
Right.
And I'm talking, they probably had 50 high track dozers running at any point in time.
Yeah.
So
All cats.
all cats.
Yeah.
Komatsu would come into them landfills, or Case. They come in and they bring brand new dozers for us to run and want us to try these dozers out. They wanted to get that 50.
Sure.
They wanted to get that market.
What would that Tomatsu have been back then? That would, like,
I couldn't tell you because I never ran the damn things.
37 was a small one, but they
No, they were bigger. 50. Are
Right.
they 51s?
yeah, well, I don't know when what the models were
When they
back then.
switched to the like a D51. Yeah.
That would have been
yeah.
like the forward style. This would have been way before
Yes,
that.
yes. No, this is the cab back style. Yes, absolutely.
I remember they had big Komatsu dozers, and I don't remember what they had in between. except
John
like-
Deere was there a lot.
Was it a
John Deere tried-
65? They had a 65 for a while. That was a big.
I think
clunky
that's
machine.
that's bigger.
Yeah,
That's
like
that's a
eight.
closer to That's
Yeah.
a good. That's over the size
Huh.
of a 6.
Maybe it was a 41. But anyway, yeah.
But they couldn't get the balance right. That high track was sitting on the side of a slope on clay. It would not stick to that slope.
Yeah.
It'd slide down the slope. And they tried putting counterweights on it and all that.
Oh, really?
They just couldn't figure it out. And basically, you didn't need a 6. You would back the truck up to the edge and dump it, and half of it would go down. You're just
Grading it.
12 hours a day pushing dirt. Either pushing or digging.
Sides
I
you-
really honed my dozer skills on them landfills.
Did you guys switch like ways so
You
wear
had
it-
to.
plus
Yeah.
your hip
Your hip.
and
Oh
and
yeah,
the
you had to.
undercarriage,
My hips
right?
are shot right now. Yeah,
From
because
that.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm talking 90 to 100 hours a week.
Wow.
7, 8 months out of the year.
Were those the fingertip control, or was that the actual levers?
No, the clutch.
levers,
Yeah,
the
steering
clutches.
clutches.
Okay,
Yeah, the fingertips didn't come out for quite a while.
Right, that was
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
I'm the series man.
The only
I'm
really,
Sims.
and another nice thing about the Cat is they came out with the seat when the seat was kicked a little bit to the right, about
On the
35. Yeah, so yeah. So when you're going forward or you're backing up, you're not turning your head all the way when you're backing up. You know what I mean?
I remember I ran a lot of 6s that way. I didn't let the 5 come out.
No, the 5 had it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. And then
Cool.
because after the steering clutches, then they came out with the tiller steering.
That was the best.
And the tiller steering is when it got really comfortable to
The
run.
tiller was the
Oh,
best
yeah.
one ever.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was okay. So landfills, Hasley, doing a lot of dozer work there. What was after that, or how you were there for? How you guys did landfills and all that kind of work for that for how long? you said?
I was in the landfills in the beginning. Then near the end of my career with Hasley, I was mostly on the site work. They had a job up in Amherst, big retirement community, Canterbury Woods.
Yeah.
That was actually my last job that I was with Hasley. It's funny. I listened to Sean's podcast the other day, and he was talking about racing. He said something about racing to the bank to cash your check.
Yep.
Well, that's how I was getting with Hasley too.
How does that go from being that big of a contractor to?
They went out of town and started working out.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Didn't work out for them.
It didn't, and they started trying to do DOT work. They had a lot of family involved in that company. I mean, he took care of his family, but a lot of, I hate to say it, they shouldn't have been in the positions they were in. You know
Gotcha.
what I mean? And you get into DOT work, it's more, they had the clay, they had that buttoned up. You know what I
Right.
mean? The site
Right.
work, it's a little controllable. You start getting, it's more competitive DOT work.
Yeah.
Then they started working down south, and they were losing controls of jobs down south. I just got too big, I guess.
Right.
But it got to the end. Their Hasley at the time, Tom Friedenberg was a BA. I was a steward at Hasley at Canterbury Woods, and I expressed my dismay with having to run to the bank to cash my check. And he says, "Well, there's this young guy. He's starting his company up here. Been in business for a year or two. I think you might be a good fit for him." I says, "All right." And it was Mike Salvador. And
Wow.
going to CatCo.
So during the Hasley years, though, was all that in 463?
No. Most of the site work was actually in 17.
Okay.
But I actually, say I was there for 7 years, I bet you if I had to guess, I bet you I spent close to 3 years in 463.
Did they have the sub pay then when you were in there? Because they got rid of it at some
they
point.
did. Yes,
but they had it. So that was all good.
They had sub pay back then.
And they treated you pretty good. 463?
100%. I could have, yes. I was more than welcome to go there. You know what I mean? They never tried to kick me out early. There was just Hasley back then employed 90% of 463. So.
Yeah, so they had some stuff.
yeah, you know, you got it. Yeah.
I just remember hearing the stories like that. They would get a guy that would come off or whatever he was, and they'd walk up to the 17 guy, "You're out of here, kid," and they'd kick him out. And
Never
put the guy in.
once. No. Van Brochet, I was with him for quite a bit
Yeah.
at the clay pits, and I couldn't ask for a better foreman to work for. He actually ran the clay pits. He was an operator. His brother was an operator. Great guys. And Stevie Dietz,
Yeah.
he was probably the best dozer
Mr.
operator.
Dietz, I've heard that story.
Best dozer operator I've ever seen.
That's great.
We go into them strip malls and there'd be dump trailers coming in, and he'd have to grade 20 acres, and he could carry grade for a good 10 acres.
Wow.
Within a couple inches.
And this is
With no GPS.
No GPS.
Nobody's telling him what grade it is. I'm talking seat of your ass cold. Yeah. They ain't even,
That's
GPS
awesome.
wasn't even thought of.
No.
The best those are, when I see somebody like that running, it gives me that's what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I
You know
love
what I mean? I
watching.
want that. And it makes you strive. There's always somebody better than you out there, and you look at that, and
Yeah, watching talent work is awesome.
absolutely, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So what year was it when you got started with Mike?
I don't know the exact. I was with Mike for 25 years.
Because he just, so there's I want to say, so we're 125. I think he's 30 years now. Was 2025, I think he was 30 years in business.
He could have been. Yep.
Yeah. So
I wasn't with them last year. I went to Grid for a
1995 he
year.
started. 1995.
So, yeah. So 2 years. So 27 years ago I started.
Yeah, I think it was
99. There you go. In fact, I know it's 90. That number sticks in my head. It was
99.
99 when I started with Mike.
Yeah, I think he started the actual company 95 or something like that. Either way, we'll find out because I'm going to have him here too someday. But wow, so right off the ground floor with CatCo, how big were they then?
At the time, it was his biggest job that he got. I think they just come off of the Twin City Memorial Highway. And at the time, it was Transit Road going from Row Road to North French. It was like about a $15 million job back then. And that was, I think, his biggest job back then.
Because he was partnered up with Marinaccio for a bit.
Yeah, that was Strickler. Yeah.
Strickler. And was Uncle Joe involved in that? Joe DePizio?
No.
Just okay. Right.
Yeah, Joe was Diamond D.
Diamond
and
D,
it stayed Diamond D. The only time that Joe came into the picture is when Diamond D got shut down and Mike brought to help Joe out.
Right.
CatCo. So.
And then Bernie, and then DePizio construction was going on then too, right?
Oh, yeah.
All family. Right.
Yeah.
So you're up on Roll Road and Transit. Road reconstruction?
Yeah, total road reconstruction. Yeah.
Big hours, good work back then?
Oh, yeah. 60, 70 hours a week. Couldn't ask for more. You know what I mean?
And I know when we first started hearing about CatCo, you drive by a CatCo job and it's all Cat equipment. Everybody had something to do. Oh, it's all CatCo.
He was very proud of his equipment. He took a lot of pride in his equipment, and I took the plastic off a lot of seats when I worked for CatCo.
So what did CatCo actually stand for?
Concrete Applied Technologies.
Yeah, that was funny. It's nothing to do with Caterpillar equipment.
No,
I wonder how he came up with that name.
I didn't know. I asked him at one point in time. I think he told me, but I really don't remember the story.
Yeah, I'll have to get it out of him. Yeah, he definitely took pride in his equipment. I remember when I was working there as an apprentice, the first job I started with you on Sweet Home, and I had scratched the back of a 308. The dump truck driver wasn't paying attention. I backed up and I caught the latch on the gate and turned a bit and was like, uh-oh. And I got told the very first person you need to call is Mike Salvador. And I did. I don't have his number. He didn't know who I was. Some guys called me. I'm telling him I scratched his machine. But yeah.
He'll get mad, but he'll appreciate that you got the balls to call him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I've had to make a couple of them phone calls myself.
I watched it.
Yeah,
I remember, because when I first started as an apprentice, my first big dirt job was with you on Sweet Home. Like I said, I walked out there the first day, introduced myself to you, and you were putting a rain pants on because you're running a skid steer. And I'm like, why is the steward, for number one, running a skid steer, and number two, putting rain pants on? I remember you telling me that, listen, kid, this is CatCo. We don't stop, so you're going to get wet, or you can put rain pants on. We did.
I know what. I ain't going to let him beat me. I ain't going to tell him. You know what I mean? And if there's something, I'm not going to say I'm better than you as a steward. So I'm going to tell somebody else to run it. So I'm going to show them that I'm going to run it too. You know what I mean?
I actually took that to heart, and I did that the whole time. Like, no matter, and Sean and I train it. We do our tourist steward class. Like, nothing is beneath you. If you got to go run a broom that day, if you got to, we do. Sean did a lot of it at Ball Hill, and I know I've done some of it. But like, hey, mulcher, to maintain jurisdiction on the equipment, we're going to run whatever it takes to get it run. And not a lot of people see that or appreciate it, but that's fine. This is what we do.
Nobody else wants to run it, but it is what it is. It all pays the same.
Yeah, you're
not on it for the rest of your life.
No, right.
You were putting driveways in with. I was rolling for you, and you were putting. We were doing driveway approaches with the skid steer, the blacktop. And it was like, wow, I didn't know. At the time, I thought stewards were, collared shirt guys that were running the nicest stuff out there or whatever they were. I didn't know, but that changed my mind on how.
I remember when you come
stewards, yeah, that was cool, and that was back in the big hour days.
Oh yeah,
you guys did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he had a lot of them jobs were called A plus B, so there was a timeline on all them jobs. There was bonuses involved, and that's where he was making his money.
Before
what's the A plus B?
There's a timeline when you start and you divert traffic over to one side to start tearing up the road. A clock starts. So once the clock starts, you have a certain timeline, you get it done. If you get it done before that timeline, you get a certain amount of per day that you get it done as a bonus. Anytime past it, it's a penalty.
Gotcha.
And I'm pretty sure he bid it to get the bonus. He always got the bonus. A lot of them, like when we did Hamburg, that was all A plus B work.
Gotcha.
So there was bonuses.
All the roundabouts?
Yeah.
I think before that, the big one was Walden and Union.
100%.
You guys worked.
Yes.
I remember talking to like Donnie Bork at 9 o'clock at night. Oh, I'm just shutting the backhoe off. It's like it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You guys worked some big hours there.
Well, it's because they did their due diligence on that job there. I remember when the job first started, they want us to start early, but the Galleria Mall's right there.
Yeah.
And they wanted us to start early, and they're like, well, you want us to interrupt Christmas shopping? You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
White Massoy was actually on the news talking about it on Channel 4, I remember.
Oh, man.
And they came up with extra money for us to start early.
Is they really?
But yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's go back a couple years ago. Where were you in 05? Talk about what happened in 05.
Where was I in 05?
I don't know. You were working, remember the strike?
Oh, during the strike?
Yeah,
That was the
or
big
how
strike.
the whole strike went.
I was on Walden and Union.
AGC negotiations
Yeah, I was
that
on
started
Walden
that
and
year.
Union. Now, there was a strike for 3 years consecutive. What year was the long strike?
05 was a bad
There was
one.
a strike the year before that lasted a month.
For a different contract, probably, right?
Yeah, AGC. It was AGC.
AGC, well, yeah, I don't know what the contracts
now-
were back then, but
So I worked on Transit Road for 2 years when I started with them. Then I went to Transit Road South, so that would have been in front of Green Hours.
down
From
there.
the railroad bridge.
Yes.
And now there was a strike during that contract.
Was it really?
too. Oh, yeah. But it only lasted couple weeks.
Remember the transite water main that ran up the
Yes,
east
yep.
side of
Oh,
that?
yeah, yeah.
You guys uncovered it and broke it about every...
I actually tell you the truth, them tie-ins, because they were welded joints. There's a 30-inch transmission line, and them joints back then, it was a steel line with concrete coating around it. In order to go from the existing new one and to tap it into the one that you're using, you had to weld each one of them joints. So you had to have angles. You had to make about 4 or 5 different welds. Long story short, it took you almost 30 hours. You shut the water down, turn them valves down, you shut down about 6 towns.
Really?
That transmission water line. They wouldn't even let us do it in the middle of summer because we were in a state of drought. They made us wait until it rained a little bit to fill up all their water towers. Then when you shut it down, you don't stop until it's done.
Yeah, that was Elma's water line, not even
Elma,
County.
yeah.
And it just so happens, I think the highest pressure point in Elma, because the lowest spot is right there in that section, like at Clinton and Transit, or even back farther, like where
Well,
Burleson Transit. It's like
if
the
you go-
pressure's really high there.
I'm trying to think. You know where you go over the bridge there at Clinton and Transit,
Yep.
and then you got that car dealer on the left, and
Yep.
you come up that hill there. You could probably take a shovel and go find that thing.
Yeah,
it's
not-
only about a foot down.
Right. Yeah. It's
It-
they lowered
it's-
the grade of Transit, right?
Yeah, yes. But anyway, back to the tie-ins. I remember I was coming home 9/11. I was coming home from a 30-hour shift, and I heard the first plane hit in my radio. And I got home. I remember turning on the TV and watching the second plane.
I thought that was. I remember being. Oh yeah. Okay, that's right. 9/11. I was thinking, wow, that was in that job there.
Yep. Well, anyways, back to the strike. So that was that job. We had a strike. Then on Walden, I was on Walden and Union when we went on the big strike. Ange Fazo was a steward.
Right. And I remember you guys, I got talking to you guys because I was talking to Donnie Bork more because we were friends, but he was telling me that Mike didn't put everybody back to work that year because he knew he was on strike, except for he called the steward back.
There was actually 3 strikes because there was a strike the year the contract before even. We were working on Main Street in Buffalo. For 3 consecutive years, there was a strike with the AGC.
Wow. How long were you out, like, for those strikes?
The first one, 10 days maybe, 12. The second one, a couple of weeks. The third one, it was 18 weeks.
It was a long strike.
They saved up. They tried to starve us out. There's no.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, every one of them. They learned something from the last one.
Sure.
And then they were going after the 40.
40-hour guarantee.
That was the big one. The 40 and the 8.
And good thing we kept the 40 version of it for a long time.
Yeah. That 40 and that 8 is one thing they were after it every time. That was the main sticking point. That's what they wanted. That and the switches.
The equipment switches,
Yeah.
I think that's what they lost in that.
Yes,
in
they
that
did.
strike.
Yes,
because before then it was
the switches.
Yeah, right. But so how did it work? It was you could go from one.
A to B and
Did you go back to A?
you go back to A and that's it.
So A to B and back to A. So basically one switch per day because you went from that one to something. You run a hoe, you get on a dozer and run it, and you go back to the hoe, but you couldn't go to a loader or something. You couldn't go to a third piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there a dollar amount attached to that back then too? Because like in independent heavy highway, still today there's limited. You're allowed to go from A to B, but finish the day in B. But there's a dollar amount on the project that only applies to.
Well, I think they kept nibbling at it at some point in time. As far as the AGC contract, they just abolished it. They got it. It never like the independent. Oh, we're not going to give it up. We'll put a dollar amount. But they at that point, that's the one that we gave up during the big strike. We kept the 40, we kept the 8, we gave up the unlimited switches.
Unlimited switches, yeah. That
So what was it? What was that like? You went out. You're working on Walden, right? You said, and then you go out for 18 weeks, and you go back, and now you can make as many switches as you want.
It really did. To tell you the truth, you're unproductive making that many switches,
Right.
anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was more of a control thing, I guess I would call it. You know what I mean? More of. Don't get me wrong. If it's a small job, yes, you only need one or two operators who can make a bunch of switches. That job there, that was back then. It was a $30 million job. It was one of the biggest jobs in Western New York. You had enough people there. You didn't have time to have, go run this now. Everything was being run because it was the type of job.
Everybody needed to be. Where
Yeah,
they were.
exactly.
Yep,
Yep,
gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah, currently, so in the independent heavy highway, it's $10 million. So anything $10 million and over, one change shall be defined as moving from machine A to machine B, and the employee must finish the day on the second machine.
Some guys say we lost work to it. I mean, I'm sure we did, but it's how long can you? I don't know. It's, you know what I mean. It's nice to have, but at the same time, there's every third operator could be a utility operator.
Right.
Anyways, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
There's,
Right.
Technology's changed too, the way
Oh,
we used to do
absolutely.
stuff.
Yeah.
I remember Bob Hill told me at one time that, when the big contractor came in and did the thruway, the I-90, is when the union was able to get all that language in the contracts about manning light plants and manning this and manning that. And then when they left, all that big work was gone, but the contract was still here. And they've been fighting ever since trying to get it to get back to where it is. But I think the days of the language in our contracts haven't changed since like 05. It's been pretty consistent. And I think everybody's figured out that this is a good spot to be in, and we
I
all
agree.
can make.
Yep.
They're all doing well and making money now, and we've got, I would say, probably 99% of the market share in Western New York or in Local 17 for prevailing rate DOT work. So I
We're
think
doing something
Yeah,
like that.
we're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because of the talent of our operators and our contractors are smart. They know how to bid work and do work right. So that's we got to give them credit too, but definitely a lot to that. So 05 strike. Then you went to Wald Union, did some big hours there. What other jobs you remember like sticking out at CatCo that were big?
Quite a few of them were big. Yeah. Like I said, I was there 25 years. It sort of all blends in together.
Right. You were a steward a lot though too, right?
Yeah, I was probably steward 3/4 of the time. I would imagine. It's most of the jobs I was at the one point in time talking to you and talking to Bill at the point. They wanted a steward on the job, and I was going there anyway, so it made sense for me to be the steward on the job. Yeah.
Yep. That was good to have you out there as a steward, because it's hard to find a guy that has the talent that's going to be at the company anyway, whether you're a steward or not, but then is willing to stick up for the union and not take the company side.
Me and Mike had some battles.
Did
There's
you?
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. He's the guy that likes to he don't mind a battle. He likes to argue. I think he enjoys it sometimes.
Sure they
but
do.
we had our battles, but we respected each other at the end of the day.
No, that's good.
That's the God's honest truth.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I remember the first day I worked for him, or even not the first job I worked for him. We're out there on. I mean, he just started. He'd been in business 3 years now, and I'm this young kid. You know what I mean? I ain't that young, but 25 years ago, I had to be 30, and it's starting to pour rain out. There might have been a half a dozen operators out. He pulls up in his truck, tells me to jump in his truck. We start driving down the road, and he says, "What are we going to do with all these guys?" I don't know. You got to pay them. Tells me, get out of the truck. Stops. I get out of the truck. End of it. Nope. It was. Yeah, there was. He was feeling me out. So he knew where I came from, and I knew where he came from.
Sure.
Bottom line is, you got to make the guy some money. If he's not in business, you're gonna have no.
That's right.
For,
You
you know what
gotta
I mean?
make him money.
And we respected each other for what we were.
Bob Hill
Absolutely.
told me, you got to make me $1 before I can pay you 50 cents.
There, yeah.
I
Oh,
get
yeah.
it.
That's
I
the
get it.
God's honest truth.
You
Yeah.
get it? What did you? So, I'm sure you got the stories of CatCo could probably go on for days with laborers and different stuff like that. But what about? Remember making any mistakes or anything that you got to look back on? And be like, right?
I like to forget them, but hey,
Sure you
they're
do.
all learning. They're all
Yeah,
learning mistakes.
right.
You know
We all
what I
make
mean?
them, right?
You were on the job there. We're getting ready to pave. I remember Sweet Home Road. They were going to run 2 pavers. I think they put 3,000 tons up in the silo, which means Mike Salvator just bought 3,000 tons of blacktop. No matter
it goes
what
in the
happens.
silo, it's his.
As soon as it's his, it goes in
Okay.
that silo. It says, yeah, he bought it.
And 3,000 tons, is that a lot for one day, or how does that?
Well, no, my God, that's just
No?
to start the day out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well,
For people that don't know, like,
okay, yeah.
like,
No,
what's
on
3,000
an average
tons?
day, dual pavers, you put 4,000 or 5,000 tons down probably in a
Average day CatCo's 10, 12 hours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. At least 12. When you're paving, you're at least, by the time you get in there, you're in there an hour before you're paving. You're getting the paver ready, getting it you get the automation on, bring it out there, get it online, get everything set up. You might, it probably takes you about an hour, and it's probably 10 hours, 11 hours of paving at least, and then another hour to get it cleaned out and get it parked and get ready for the next day.
Sweet Home was a total reconstruction. We got subgrade graded off. Remember, what was the old grader guy? The guy from...
Mitch.
Oh, yeah.
He's from Rochester.
Mitch was great.
Oh, yeah. Good guy.
He could... I remember every day Mike would say, how long would it take to get to here? And he'd say, 8 hours. If it was 100 feet or 3,000 feet, it was 8 hours.
I got a good story with Mitch.
Tell him. Let's hear it. Mitch was great.
I'm in the 6. I thought I was a cat's ass in this dozer.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been running for this dozer for 15 years now. I can do anything I want. Mitch is behind me on the grader. Mm-hmm. Well, when you go and you box these roads out, you got businesses and you got the road. You got to get them. Well, you got to put stone ramps in there to get these businesses out. But the blacktop, you got to get rid of the stone.
Right.
So you sort of want to make the middle low and then take the driveways and lose it in there. So I'm on the 6 and I'm pushing the driveways out, and Mitch is behind me. He's fine grading, and then Salvador's behind him with the paver pushing us down the road.
Right. Oh, you're fine grading in front of the paver.
Yes, Mitch is.
I'm right, but I mean the same thing. You're not doing it. Yeah.
I can see the blacktop trucks. You know what I mean? They're coming up behind us, right? So we're going along, and all of a sudden, I think I'm doing a stroke of business, and the next thing I know, I see a truck pull up next to the grader, blacktop truck. That means Mike's getting closer.
Uh-oh.
Mitch pulls the grader up next to me, says, "Get that dozer out of the way." I took it out of there. I see him put it in about 3rd gear, 4th gear, and make about 10 passes. And he goes, "Okay, now you can go back to do what you're doing."
Really?
I felt this big, It is what it is. Mitch was awesome on the grader.
He was.
Yeah, very good grader out.
He knew how to manage his time for the day. Like if he only had 100 feet to do for today, it would take him 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
But if he had to get all that done, it would. Yeah. Jimmy Bukowski was that way too. I remember watching him at Union Concrete. He could do anything with a grader. It was amazing to watch him run it, and he would get stuff done and work at a gentleman's pace.
I watched Jimmy come over to Jimmy come to work for Mike near the end there. The end that was there. I forget where we were at. Somewhere down in the southern tier was a box culvert. I put it in with the dozer with the GPS. That time we had GPS, but
that was brand new GPS back then. TopCon,
yeah. And he told me, he says, put it right at grade.
Yeah,
put it right at grade, roll it down. And it was a good stretch. It was probably maybe 300-400 feet. I gotta say 4 lanes wide with shoulders. You know what I mean? And he come up to me and he says, "You put it at grade." So I put it at grade and I got on the roller and I rolled it. And he took about maybe 15 loads, just dump them sporadically out there.
Did he have GPS in the grader too?
He might have.
Because you had a 6R or 6T?
No.
6-way blade or straight?
K. The K's.
Oh, a K.
A K.
Was that new? Okay.
Yeah, it was a K. Yeah.
Right.
This was I'm trying to think what year it was.
What job was it? Has Mitch been retired for a while?
Mitch is dead.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's been retired for a while. Yeah.
Rest in peace, brother.
Yeah. But anyways, I watched, this was Bucky. This was a Mitch.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. You were talking about Jimmy. Yeah.
So I watched him put about a dozen loads down, and I watched him jump in that grader, take it to the bridge deck, put the blade down right up against the bridge deck, and then as he's coming off with the grader, watching that blade just go up, because his ass is coming down.
Right.
And all of a sudden he took off in 2nd gear and started going through these 14 piles. He's doing circles. And I'm telling you, when he was done, you could tell by looking at it, it was on grade.
Really?
Shoulder brakes and everything. Yeah,
he was
very talented,
slick.
Very talented operator.
He was slick.
You see something like that, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I learned everything about running grader from him. I remember just watching him run a roller, and then one day he's like, "Hey, I got to take off early. You want to run this thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah.
Figured it out, and I wasn't nowhere good at it, but I could make it work. But I remember
you got to start somewhere.
We were doing the 90 with Union Concrete, the big job through Eden Evans Center. It was like a $90 million job, just huge job, but it only had 9 operators on it. And there was one time Jimmy he wanted to go. He wanted to leave early, but we had to get something done. I never seen a grader work so fast in my life. And then they're like, the foremen are out there watching it. I was doing something, and if Jeff Zink comes up, he's like, "What? If that guy worked like that all day long, we'd be this much farther ahead." But nah, Jimmy wasn't gonna give it to him like that.
Same way Mitch was.
That's right. I loved it.
Mitch used to tell me, he says, you know what? When they got nothing for me to do, they let me go home in 8 hours all the time. He says, so when I'm on the grader, I'm going to get some overtime.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
They don't like it. It is what it is.
Wow. So you guys were grading right in front of the back to that. You're grading right in front of that 6R. He would grade right in front and then
Oh, yeah.
roll it out. Yeah. That was some good work back then.
Yeah, then near the end there, like about the last 10 years, I was on the paver for most of the year.
How'd you learn how to run a paver? Was that something he just put you on?
Dennis Haslam,
Oh yeah.
retired operator.
Remember him?
I started rolling quite a bit on the paver. I started out on a roller, and so, you're around it more. And there's techniques to rolling. You're not just driving it out there. You got compaction tests you got to reach. So, and he gets paid by numbers on the compaction tests, and you better be getting them numbers or he's not going to get paid. So there's a technique to rolling. But anyways, I got on the roller, and then I got around the blacktop a little bit more. And Dennis Haslam, near the end of the day, was teaching me to run the paver. Just watching and learning.
So back to that story before we got sidetracked with Mitch there. We're getting ready. Mike's got, 3,000 tons in a silo?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not get sidetracked here. We're going to a good one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm trying to avoid my mistake. Is what I'm trying to avoid. You know what I'm trying to avoid.
I know.
Anyway, so it's pouring rain out. You can't put the blacktop down. I think Donnie Macero, he was running the back of the paver at the time. Mike wasn't even there, but they put a beam together. The beam is it's a grade sensor. It's just a long, straight edge that they put on the side of the paver that you attach it to it that makes it smoother. It's an expensive piece of item. It's aluminum. I ran it over with a 950 motor. It wasn't so expensive.
I watched you do it.
It wasn't so expensive
Bounced me
anymore.
right out of the seat and everything. As soon as I hit, I'm like, that's the beam. I know it is.
Hank was backing up. I seen a loader pop up in the ground. And I had no idea what it even was. I'm looking up there. I'm like, whatever he just ran over was something that was.
Donnie told me the same thing. I don't know. You better call Mike. I said, okay. He didn't yell at me, but I'm sure he wanted to.
Did you mess it up? Was it screwed up?
Two sections of it out of three. 2/3 of it was messed up.
That day, I think it was that day. It was a Friday, if I remember right.
We paved all night.
We had plans, myself and a couple friends of ours were going to Cedar. What's the water park?
Cedar Point?
Cedar Point that weekend. We're going to leave Friday after work. I'm like, we've been working 8 hours, 10 hours all week. I'll be ready by 5, 6. I'll be home at 5, 6 o'clock. It rained till noon.
We didn't start paving till 1 in the afternoon.
The dump trucks were all hiding under the overpass in the 990, and we didn't start paving till 1 o'clock. I don't think I got home till 11. There was 4 or 5 people in my house just bitching from 5 till I got home. That was awesome.
That first load backed into the paver. Dennis Haslam was on the paver. I still remember to this day. Now all the inspectors got their heat guns there. They're going to start throwing this blacktop away.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So the truck backs into the back of the paver and it goes up. And I'm standing near the back of the paver and I can hear Mike tell Dennis, "Go ahead, Dennis." Mike says, "All these inspectors are on top of the paver. I can't move." He says, "Run them over." They all moved. That was the end of it.
That was the end of it. We got towards
Mike's
the end
in the hopper pulling chunks of blacktop out, throwing them off to the side. We put it down. We got it done. I'll give it to him. He put it down. Then that job, too, near the end, we ran out of tech.
I remember that.
I mean, we should be seeing this on this podcast.
The inspector told him,
You're not putting it down anymore. And he just kept going.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And the funny thing was about that, I'm like, this is going to, I drove that job every year, like just say, that blacktop is
Right in front of the high school.
Looks perfect.
Yeah.
You can't find a spot where we ran out of tack coat in there. Not one.
Mike was, the guys were seriously, definitely scared of Mike. I can tell you that. I don't know why. I watched an EIC come up to Mike Salvador, give him a stop work order, and Mike tear it up and throw it on the ground. Just kept going. Darren, the foreman, goes over, picks the stuff off the ground. He says, "Here, you drop that." He said, "Fuck you."
I was on that job. The story told me to mulch this berm or whatever. So I get on the mulcher and I'm doing it. And I don't know where you're at, but I'm mulching and this guy's running out in front of me and he's stopping. He's trying to wave at me. Mike told the guy, dude, Mike told me, just keep going. The guy's hard hat blew right off. He didn't even get out of the way. I have no idea what it was over, but I just kept going and mulching. And it was
Never saw him again, probably, right?
That was a job. I got pulled over. I'm coming up the road in a skid steer, and a cop pulls up behind me. And I'm thinking, what's this cop doing? And I'm just driving along. I hear, woo, woo. He's, what? Pulling me. So I stop. The cop gets out, and he's like, hey, you can't be out here. You start. I just keyed to Mike. Mike, can you come down here and yell at this cop? And hung up on the guys. I said, my boss is coming down here now. Like, Mike comes down there. He says, so he starts, he pulls up in the middle of traffic, door open, gets out, and I just drive away. Like what they even said.
Door opens up, his truck takes off because he never put it in park, which happened I don't know how many times.
I don't know how many times he said
into
stuff
a telephone pole.
Front and back of that truck. Got them trucks.
Oh, he's something else.
He is. He's still out there getting it done, too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So you're at CatCo for how many years?
25 years I was
25 years.
Yep.
A lot of paving. You guys get into when they started doing the
VPP
stuff, a lot of paving with that.
Yeah, wow.
That's where the hours were.
It was crazy. I mean, one day I'd be in up on the Canadian border there, up in Lewiston, and the next day I put the paver down, and I looked at a sign and said, welcome to New York, from the PA border, between 2 days.
Same paver?
Could have been. I don't remember exactly.
He shuffled stuff around a lot.
Yeah, the one day I was supposed to pave somewhere, he told me get on 98, start headed east. Okay. I live on 98. So I drove up my driveway, started making a left, I'm driving down 98. I'm like, well, how far east? I got to go to this job here. I ended up on the other side of Rochester to pave.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
98 goes the other side of Rochester?
Yeah, I got on the throughway.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just go east.
Yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, he gets it done. It's so
No. Yeah,
pretty cool to see him out there on the paver.
He wants to do it. You wouldn't even expect you drive by that job. You wouldn't even know that guy's a multimillionaire standing on the back of that paver. Give him a lot of respect for that. A lot of people do.
Yep.
100%. He deserves every penny he's got. There's no doubt about it.
He came from just himself and
nobody handed him nothing. Nobody handed him a company, nothing. He started on his own. I give him all the respect in the world.
Yeah.
Me and him didn't see eye to eye at the end, but that's needless to say.
You're going to have that.
It was time for me to move on. It is time for me to move on. That's all. But he definitely deserves everything he's got.
So you move on from CatCo, and where are you at now?
I'm at the Alley Cat Windmill.
Yeah, Alley Cat Wind Farm. Huh?
Best job I think I've ever had.
That's great. So we started talking about Alley Cat when I first started here in 2018. Bill and I were at these meetings and town stuff, and it was just nothing but a struggle with the anti-windmill people and the big job and talking about this for years and going to come. Finally, we get this contract with Wesson, and we had Sean kind of figured out to go out there and do it after he did a good job at Ball Hill. It all fell apart, as if you heard in the other podcast. Oh, yeah. But then, you came available with not being a CatCo anymore.
He got a piece of the pie from Ball Hill, too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
so you were at the fourth year Ball Hill.
Because before Alley Cat started, I left CatCo.
Right.
And Ball Hill, they're finishing up the box culverts at Ball Hill.
You got a little taste of the chaos of the windmill farm.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that you were talking about where they took the pipes out that had no water in them, and you put the box culvert in. Remember that guy wanted you to dig and tear that out before you had anything to backfill on the other side?
Oh, yeah. I should have. I go, well, how are you getting the backfill on the other side? What are you going to backfill this with? I says, well, you got to get a helicopter. I think they needed.
Got to get a helicopter.
120 loads of gravel stockpiled on the other side. You know what I mean? There was no way you could backfill from. You couldn't backfill. There's no way to get the backfill on the other side.
Couldn't get around it.
No.
Right.
No, it was a big ravine you couldn't get around. I should have cut my mouth shut.
Yeah, you would have.
You'd probably still be there.
Yeah, you'd be making more money. So this would be the first time you ever stewarded for anybody that was not CatCo, right?
Hasley.
Okay, you steward Hasley.
Yeah, I was steward with Hasley.
But honestly, I mean, foremen and companies are all kind of the same, right?
Pretty much, yeah. I there's no doubt about it. Yeah, there's no difference at all.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? They all want something from you, and you got to feel them out and see. You treat them respect, and hopefully you get treated back with respect the same way. If you don't, you adjust accordingly. You know what I mean?
So you go from running a paver with live traffic 2 feet off your shoulder to a mile back in the woods. How was that feeling?
That was the biggest change right there, yeah. In fact, the year before, after Ball Hill, I ended up going to work for Oak Grove. and running their paver on the throughway. And there was a Jersey barrier, and that side, I had to sit on the Jersey barrier side because that's the only way you could see the paver to get in there. I had tractor trailers coming by me about 4 or 5 feet. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. So,
Yeah, that could be a little scary on the throughway.
oh yeah.
I remember milling at night with that stuff, and you're milling along, and you're on that inside of the, along the center line, and all of a sudden, a couple barrels or cones will come winging by in front of you that a semi hits, and you're thinking, you're leaning over, trying to see where your track's at, and that mirror from that truck is right. Ugh.
I mean, in my mind, I think it's dangerous, and I don't think they should allow it. And I think the only reason they do it is because of traffic. The hell with traffic. Back in the day, put up a detour, drive around it. You couldn't be any safer. If you're worried about our safety, let's do something like that. Then you know what I mean.
We just had this conversation not that long ago.
Yeah, detour these people.
About
Who
the
cares?
Crossovers. Why do they take them back out? Just leave them in. You're gonna do work on either side again.
Yeah.
If you shut that just cross the lanes over, put 2 lanes of traffic on one side and cross it back, and just leave the crossovers in paved.
Yeah.
You can reuse them again.
Yeah.
This throughway work is never ending. It's like they don't want to actually fix the throughway right in every section. They want to go through full depth repairs and then do a mill and fill on it. You're going to be doing it again in a couple of years.
Well,
leave the crossovers in.
Look at the VPPs.
Right.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yep.
Take an inch half off, put it back on. You're just a baby.
Keep putting salt on them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, right.
you make these suggestions, and I'm only doing that for the safety of it. But if we actually did this stuff right, we'd probably be not running out of work. But what we do now is band-aiding things.
Job security, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you salt it, you beat it up. We do it again in a couple of years anyway. So
it's the night work that they're, because now it's not just throughway.
Right.
No, you go on the transit road, you go on. They're not worried about. They're just worried if somebody's got to sit in traffic for 5 minutes.
Right.
Drive around the block. You know what I mean? There's a way around.
There's a way around. Yeah. Sorry about your inconvenience.
I mean, you work enough in traffic, it's all you hear. People blowing horns all day long, yelling at each other. They're down there staring at their cell phones. They're just not paying attention to what's going on. It's just
definitely, as an operator.
But you hit the nail right on the head with the traffic. Yeah. That was the biggest thing right there, probably.
Anybody that's doing
you turn the machine off, you just hear birds. The sun setting maybe in the distance.
Yeah, that's why I love the pipeline work. You get out in that woods and just start working out there.
Absolutely.
I'll take a lunch on a grill and a tailgate versus walk into the store on a road job. But yeah, it's definitely great work. What do you think about the whole windmill stuff? Like as far as that kind of work?
It can get monotonous. The road work definitely. You know what I mean. You're doing one task. Like you go strip a road. I mean, you almost feel like a robot, you know what I mean? But it pays the bills, you know what I mean? And you're back to where you really don't have traffic and nothing really, you turn the radio on, you can relax a little bit more, but you still got to there are people around you, but not as many. Where you get into the road work, there's just constantly something you have to keep your head on. You know what I mean? Like the beam, I should have saw that beam, you know what I mean? Once you relax, it's usually when things like that happen.
Yeah,
where you can relax more in the windmills, but it's monotonous. Somebody who's been doing it for a long enough time will find it monotonous, or they find it relaxing because they don't have to worry as much anymore. So it could be. They each have their merits. There's no doubt about it.
Definitely got a different element though with dirt and mud and mats on the wind farm where you're on the road work. It's stone and blacktop and concrete. 100%.
Well, I come from the landfill, so I had a little bit of dirt, knowledge back then. You know what I mean? It's seal things up, get the water, make your enemy is the water, keep the water off everything. But they tell you how to do it, and you do it the way they do it.
The road work stuff, it seems like there's never a shortage of work to do when it rains. You can always
absolutely. But it's the same as like the landfill. You better make hay while the sun's out, so you have to adjust accordingly. If you see weather coming, you better start working some overtime. I mean, there's a lot of overtime in that wind project because it's a utility. It's just like a pipeline. They want to turn the switch on. They don't want to turn the oil on. You know what I mean? So that's where all that overtime's coming. The faster they can get that windmill spinning and making money, so that's where the overtime's at.
That job's got.
They don't care what the topsoil piles on the side of the road look like if they're tracked in and all tight. They want it to the side, the road in, so they can get that tower up and, like you said, flip that switch. That's what they
turn
want.
That switch
they want to know when that switch can get flipped.
Yeah, we always whenever we see that and question that stuff, it's like, okay, would it make more sense to track that topsoil in so it's dry and you go put it back, or just get it out of the way as fast as you can to get the stone in here. And
Get it out of the way as fast as you can, because that pile, when you struggle to put it back, that means the utility is already in, towers
Making
up,
money.
and it could be the switch could already be flipped, and they're making money. So if it takes you longer to put that topsoil back all muck, they don't care.
I guess not.
You could be stripping it when it's crap. You know,
Yeah,
it got
yeah.
to that point with us too, where
Yeah.
you can't track it in.
Right.
But Weston, they didn't want it. You know what I mean? They didn't want it tracked in. They just. I mean, you might go and I would have took the time and knocked the tops off just to get the shed off, but it will all dry out. You know what I
Eventually,
mean?
oh yeah, it'll eventually dry out.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's no doubt about
Or
that.
or you could be like Ball Hill, and they sell big sacks of chemicals that you mix in there that will make it dry out.
Really?
You guys dry the topsoil off?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
With
and
what?
the dirt.
Lime?
Well,
Did they put lime in it? Yeah.
Not so much the topsoil, but like the backfill, that dirt and stuff. They put all sorts of
Oh,
stuff.
that's right.
But I mean, they dried out a lot of stuff.
Man, that adds the cost, I bet. Mm-hmm. Wow.
See, they had no problems with the backfill.
You'd have to like mix it up, pat the pile, and let it cook overnight, and then you could spread it out the next day.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess. they're
No,
kind
that
of
was with
kind of-
Merlot.
yeah. Merlot, Kiewit, they were both had their hands in on it.
Gotcha.
It was super sacks, right? You just bring them out,
Super
cut them
sacks,
open,
yep.
dump them in there.
Hold them up, shake them.
Would one bag make a difference, or did it take
Oh yeah,
way more?
it would dry it out. You could get on it.
Yeah.
And they did that for the backfill too? Mm-hmm.
Was that a moisture thing, or just to get on it, like compaction type
Compaction.
thing? Yeah. Wow. That's interesting.
Never seen it done before.
So as far as like the Steward and that stuff, you're obviously meeting new members of 17 you've never worked with before, and
Oh,
new
yeah.
personalities, and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great guys, all great guys. Everybody's got their little twerks to them.
sure.
I sort of have a short fuse, so
Yeah.
I
I got the same one.
You know what I mean? I try to nip things in the butt before they become a problem. I'll give everybody their due diligence. If it's in the contract, you're going to get it. If it's not, I don't want to hear no whining either at the day in and day out. But at the same time, if it's in the contract, I'm going to get it for you.
With the hours you guys are working on there, the 40-hour guarantee never really came into play, did it much?
Nah, a couple of times.
Couple
In the
times.
beginning of the year, yeah, a couple of times, and then maybe not too often, but it definitely, yeah. There's guys that didn't, work the 40 and got 40 hours because they were there.
Oh, wow.
In between it, yeah, a couple of times.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear that that's still.
Oh no, it was needed, definitely. Yeah, they would. If we did not have that in the contract, we would have had the guys losing hours out there. And probably, more. I bet you, if I had a guess, maybe say we were there for 36 weeks. I bet you at least 4 to 5 weeks it
Okay.
became involved.
Wow.
You know
All
what I
right.
mean? Yeah.
That's more than I would have thought.
Yeah. No.
So this job is split between 158 and 17, and you've got another partner out there, Steward. You had Dave Wentworth. Now he's moved on. But what did you get any feedback from those 158 guys about these contracts? Did they give you any kind of, because they don't have anything, like they got 24-hour guarantee out there. They got good wages, but did they ever hear anything about those guys that liking their?
Oh, the 8-hour guarantee, because they didn't have an 8-hour guarantee either.
They don't got 8 hours?
No, they don't have an 8-hour guarantee either. No.
Wow.
It's 2-4 in actual for them.
No kidding.
Yeah. So the 8-hour guarantee came into play quite a bit because whenever you had lightning or rain or anything like that. And then the 40s, the 40 really didn't come in for everybody. The 40 came in and said there was quite a few. At one point, we had almost 80 operators out there.
80 operators.
Yeah, including, the cranes and everything else.
That's
and,
true, yeah.
Yeah. But at one point in time, with Moosehead was there too.
Oh, you're counting Moosehead. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay.
when Moosehead was there. But it really didn't come into account with too many other guys for 158, the 40-hour guarantee, because they were mostly into the dirt. It came into a couple of guys that, I'm trying to think of their names, like Chad on the water truck probably didn't, sometimes it came involved because they didn't need water or anything,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's one point in time. But they didn't have it. The only thing they seemed concerned about was the rate of pay,
Okay.
because they were getting paid lower at the rate of pay out of the 158 compared to the 158.
Their heavy highway
It
agreement
was more.
is
Well, I think we
lower.
caught up to them halfway through the contract.
We did, but so historically, they've done most of their windmill agreements or windmill jobs when they're building,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
what they
less than
told me.
ours. So they actually made out pretty good. But then after we got done, we really negotiated this agreement because this is it's treated as a prevailing rate job, but it's not actually prevailing rate. So we were able to blend both jurisdictions with one rate, and it worked out pretty well. But then shortly after that, 158 negotiated a PLA on another wind farm under heavy highway. So now those guys, before July of last year, they were like $9 an hour ahead of us, and it was like, oh, I thought everybody's gonna be dragging up from this job going to that one, but it didn't happen.
But now that I think about it, the guys, like in the beginning, that was their main gripe about the $9 an hour. But as the job progressed, and it got to the point, don't get me wrong, the 40-hour don't come in the guarantee. They don't know about it, but the only reason they're there is because of the 40-hour guarantee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would have been sent home already. And I told them a couple of years, what do you think you'd be doing without that 40-hour guarantee? And they were like, yeah, you're right. And a couple of the older guys, the younger guys, you know how they are. You know what I mean? They're only looking at the $9 they're losing. But the older guys, you know, this is the way to go with this.
That's good. Well, I hope they get that.
And actually, the guy that was out there, Dave Wentworth, the 158, who became a business agent, said he wants to try to get that back into their contract, too.
They do. They got some good people in place at 158 now that are really going to be trying to get more conditions for their guys, because they're just as busy as we are. At least on the western side of 158, they're busy. So that's going to work out pretty good for them.
Dave was shout out to Dave. He was a real good guy.
Yeah, great guy.
I had a good time. He was probably more hard nosed than I was. I come off as hard. Oh yeah. That's, to me, as a steward, your number one thing is make sure you can do the job, and then number two is make sure you take care of the men. That's all you got to do.
That easy.
Yeah.
Just
to me.
Do your job and take care of the men.
You got it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
You got to be an asshole once in a while. But
Right.
I got no problems being that. So
Yeah. As long as somebody's mad, you're doing your job, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, we've heard that one before, too. We do train some of that stuff in our steward class that we do. That's coming up again in February.
End of the month.
End of the month. We got contract dues class, and then we've got the steward class. So if you're interested in being a steward, come in and check that out, because we're going to need stewards this year. There's so much work
Pretty
going
sure
on.
it's the last week of February.
Yeah,
one's on Monday, one's on Friday.
Yeah. We do train that. That's always saying that the be able to do the job, and run everything, and then be willing to do everything, no matter really kind of what it is.
Yeah, like back to what we said before, you're not above anything. Really.
No, you can't be. Yeah, you can't be, because
you're the first and the last one there, so you better, you know what I mean?
Sometimes
you really can't pick and choose what you want to do.
No. You got to run a dozer, though, with heated and cooled seat, right, for a bit out there? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was on it there. Yeah.
What do they got? They got six tees, or are they?
Tees.
Yeah.
They had 6 tees. Oh, I think they had 26 tees out there. So
20 of them?
20 of them, yeah.
Wow.
Bunch of 5s. I got to see maybe 4 5s and a couple 4s. 2 4s. Three.
Didn't they run
That's
all them orange Chinese or Japanese or Chinese hose, though? The Tachis or Daewoo's or something? What do they got out there for?
Hitachis. They buy them. They bought them.
Cheap.
It is cheap.
Same as a John Deere, though?
Go run it. It is cheap. It's cheaper than a John Deere.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I
never ran one.
I told him the hydraulics are messed up. Guy come out, check the bond. They're all good. I said, well, then it's no good. I don't know if I can't.
That's what you call good.
You ask anybody, they have a hard time. You take a bucket, I'd be on the side of a slope and I grab a bucket, it'd have a hard time swinging that bucket up that slope.
Really?
They had a big,
They
had a big deer dozer out there too, right?
10.
Oh yeah, 1050. Yeah, they brought a big push dozer. Yep, yeah, they needed more of them. They had. I don't know why. For the God of me, I can't help but express what I feel. But they had grading blades on all them dozers. And I go, we don't grade anything. You're pushing dirt. You might want a couple of them. Do you realize they had 6 T's with 6-way blades. You get an R with the push blade, I bet you can increase by 30-40%. It just
now I'm gonna use your line against you.
Yeah.
How does it affect your paycheck?
There you go. That's why I can't help it though, but I can't help it.
It's
annoying knowing that you could. You know what I mean? It's annoying. You know.
And it is. I just wonder if they could not get them, or they just weren't smart enough to order them.
That's what they were talked. Bob Blankenberg was saying he could find them at Cleveland Brothers. I don't know what the whole story was. The problem was you get into push blades, and I'm sure they've had this problem before. You, as an operator, would know. You, as an operator, would know. You get into a push blade, you can't see that blade. You got to run it by feel.
Right.
Not everybody can do that.
No.
So if you got a grading blade and you got some people that don't know how to run it, this helps you with running a dozer a little bit better, I would think.
That's what happened with those Komatsus when they brought those out to us at Union Concrete, and we tried out all three of those. And remember Jimmy Bukowski and myself, they were asking us what we thought. We're like, well, we like the cat better, but overall, the being cab forward on that Komatsu, there's more people that are going to be able to grade with this than are going to be with a traditional dozer being back where you're at.
Yes,
so
yes.
It kind of, from a company standpoint, I want a cat, but,
what was the name of the girl that ran the dozer for
Diane.
you? Diane. When I had my outs with CatCo the one year I went to work for Union Concrete.
The airport.
I was on the Komatsu dozer on one side, and she was on that cat. She was a hell of a dozer.
Sick. Oh, she was. She was.
I watched her. She could run a dozer.
She would run hard.
Oh,
for the people. Yeah. Jimmy Bukowski pulled me aside one day. I was running kind of with him and her or whatever. And he says, "Hey, kid, you don't got to run that hard for these rednecks. Just let her go do that." Now she, and it was like, at the end of the day, we all had the same hours and we all got the same.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't get. She might have got more done than us, but okay, right? I don't know, but there's a time and a place to run real hard, and I say to people now, you're in the union, you can work like a gentleman, and it's. I hardly ever get a complaint from a contractor owner that says this guy is just not working hard enough for me. Most of the time the complaint is the guy just can't do nothing. But if somebody's out there giving them an honest day's worth of work and not, running like an idiot, they don't complain.
You know what I found in my years? I used to run hard, real hard. Mm-hmm. I thought that was the way to go. You notch it back a little bit, and you actually get more productive.
You can.
You're making less passes. You're making, you know what I mean? You're making one pass count instead of trying to do it in
speed will come with skill.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I back up, I'm in second gear. You know what I mean? Some guys back up in third, but that ain't good for the machine either. You know what I mean? Where's the line that you draw?
Yeah. The crazy thing is you'll see these young foremen that are out there now, and they hear a dozer just running around making all kinds of noise, and they think that guy's getting something done.
The blade ain't even on the ground. It's just skipping around. Oh, yeah.
But they think the guy's getting something done. I've heard that. That guy can really run a dozer. I'm like, he's in second gear wide open with 3 inches of material on his blade. Like, he ain't doing anything.
He's not carrying it. Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's different now when you don't have these foremen that really know what's going on. They're going away and not being replaced.
I'll tell you what, that's the problem in this business big time right now. A lot of people don't know what they're looking at. Mm-hmm. Got a lot of young guys coming up into the business. Like supervision, I'm sure it's hard to find them, but it's different. Back in the day when I first got in, your foreman told you what to do. He knew what he was talking about.
He did.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He could do your job probably, you know what I mean? Maybe not run the equipment, but he knew he'd been around long enough. He could figure it out, you know.
Yeah. Look at a guy like Darren from CatCo. Like, how many guys has he seen do work?
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah,
supposed to look
There's not enough of those people around.
Not anymore.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll ask a contractor, I send a guy out to work, and I'll call him back in a week. How's the guy doing? Well, it must be good. I haven't any complaints. And I'm like, so just because you don't have any complaints means he's doing a good job? Like, and I don't know. So, the opinions of what people can do nowadays are kind of
sort of strange times.
They are
strange times we live in.
It is, but there's so much work. I guess that's where we're at.
It's our time now. They need us.
So Alley Cat's in year number 1. We originally thought there's no way they're going to get these foundations poured, and we're in year 1, and they've got 25 all poured out.
76.
I'm sorry, 25. I'm thinking of a different job. 76 foundations got poured this year.
And backfilled.
That's getting it. Really is.
Yeah, no, they were impressed. You know what I mean? They weren't the finesse people. They were definitely, there's things I would have done different. You know what I mean? As far as doing things different, but they definitely impressed me with they had the people, the knowledge, and even the concrete people. It's not just digging a hole. It's all the logistics of getting the bar in there, the concrete mixed up, all that right. They've been doing it a long time. It's the old Delaney company. So they did Sheldon. Yep. They did Orangeville.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been doing them for a while.
We were impressed. We had some issues.
All the ones that are about to come back down.
Yeah.
Repower.
We were impressed. We had some issues with them guys, but there wasn't a single thing that we couldn't get through and work with them on. Like, hey, we didn't. It was just like stuff like starting at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
No, that's night shift. Well, it didn't our contracts don't spell out every single scenario as to what it goes. So we would come up with a compromise and explain where we're at to with this, and we've always come to terms. And I mean, most of the time we've gotten our way.
I would say yes,
Right.
100%. They were good to work for. I want to say that they needed us. There's no
Sure.
doubt about it. Like I said, at one point in time, I think there was pushing 80 operators total on that job. So, I mean, there's a tight deadline on there. But the bottom line, they were happy with us, with our talent.
Yeah.
And 158 stepped up and brought a lot. Well, we had a lot of talent out there, and we got the job done.
We actually,
and they were happy.
Pretty evenly manned too, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was pretty, it even all the way down the board, almost
Right.
the whole job. Yeah. We wouldn't get more than one or two extra operators on either local, and then we'd make moves. The next one went this way, the next one that way. But I think they were just all overall happy with our progression in talent and professionalism of our people that we sent out there. And I think that proved to be less problems. That you're back to be able to do your job, number one, and then take care of everything. You know what I mean? To me, that is seriously, it just, you're going to find people no matter what, they're never going to be happy.
Yeah.
They always want more. These weren't dumb people. They were
That's
happy.
good.
You know what I mean?
Worked out well.
Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, there was petty little things out there.
They're always good.
You're gonna have it
You
anywhere.
know as well as I know, the overtime start was one guy, and it was for maybe half a dozen times, and it turned into a big to-do, but it turned into something, you know what I mean? It just...
Yeah, you're going to have that with 80 operators, man. It's tough. I
got to agree. And anything else that came up, I never really had. I tell them what the contract. I as a steward will not go for anything that's not in that. If it's over the contract, I mean, if we can get it, you know what I mean. But don't think I'm going to go in there and argue with the guy for something that ain't in the contract.
Yeah,
it's got to be in the contract,
right?
And I read the contract before I go in there, and I make sure I know what I'm talking about. And I point it to him, and that was the end of the story, and went our way. So
Yeah, that was good. So now we're going into year number 2. What's next? What's not left? Or
cranes. Yeah.
Talked to Barnhart.
Erection.
Last week he told me 23 cranes.
Oh, I believe it.
They changed their plan. I think originally it was like 13. Now it's 23.
10 more cranes.
10 more cranes they added to the project for next year. To 20. Wow, 23. Okay, I don't know where we're going to get 23 crane operators from, but we'll do the
Between
best
us
we
and
can.
158, right?
Yeah, if we take them all.
Yeah.
But we got data centers and everything else cooking this year that I don't know where they're going to get all these guys from. They can bring 20. They can bring 50 cranes they want. I don't know. I mean, we'll do it again.
Bring 100 in here.
You might be in one. You said something about.
Let's see. Drive down this road, or it's there up in the sky. I'll drive down
Speaking
this
of
road.
crane, did you run any crane in your career? You talk about CatCo, Hasley.
I forgot. I was with Lake Steel when I was with.
Lake Steel.
Yeah. Gentleman to work for, Bill Nunn
Great.
Senior.
Yes.
Rest his soul. But when I was with Hasley, I'd get laid off in the wintertime because it was landfill work, and I'd go work for Lake Steel. Donnie Pritchard Sr. set me up with Lake Steel, told the owner there I'd be a good fit for him. So, and I was working a lot of the jobs that I was working with earlier as an apprentice with Donnie, and Donnie says I'd be a good fit in there, and I ended up going into Lake Steel. I worked there for about maybe 3-4 years, mostly part-time though.
Right.
Because they were just a rental company, and they weren't really big. Clark come out when I was there. Clark was starting. Clark got real big, and they were cutting into a lot of their business. And actually, when I was there, Bill was there, but he was more of a mechanic, but his brother Mike was in jail because of the DWIs. So they needed an extra operator, so I came in there, and then Mike got out of jail, and then they really needed the extra operator. So,
Right.
but it worked out good. Gentleman to work for, learned how to run a lot of different smaller cranes
I oiled there quite a bit because I could drive.
on the 65s and the 90s.
Yeah, because they had the Road Ranger training.
Did you oil for Mike?
I did. You had to pick him up. Before
Great crane operator.
Oh, he was phenomenal. We did a job with a 90-ton they had there, and it had a 3-speed transmission behind the drawworks, and he would put it in third gear and Christmas tree stuff up, and I just watched that guy run. I'm like, this guy's an animal, but he had to be careful with him. He had to pick him up in the morning, and then he always wanted to go to the bar after work. Can't go every night, Mike. You're just,
I thought I would, like I said earlier, I liked to party when I was a kid. I got into this local here, and I met up with Donnie Pritchard and Gary Pritchard, and I realized I was a rookie when it came to partying.
We spent.
These guys were professionals. I'm like, sometimes I told Donnie, I'm going home. Goodbye.
The first week I worked with you at Sweet Home, we were in the yard till 9:30 at night. It was dark, and you guys were going for more beer. I'm like, Bill tells stories about working with Jerry Carson. Did you go to school with Jerry?
Jerry was about 2 years ahead of me. Maybe 3 years ahead of me.
They had the.
I think he was with Kelly, right? He was right around Kelly's.
Somewhere,
Maybe
yeah.
a year ahead of Kelly.
But they were, at the night they'd be putting extension on the paver and doing whatever, and they would get there the next morning and they'd put the first load of blacktop and they'd take off and just full beer cans are just coming out the back of the street from the night before. Oh, that guy could pound them down.
We were paving on Union Road, and I got the paver. We pulled it in the yard, and it happened to be my birthday, and the girls on the rollers all got a bunch of birthday cake and a bunch of balloons.
Oh, yeah?
And we're hanging out by the paver at the end of the night. Their inspectors come over there. Next morning, we had to get the paver, and I'm driving the paver down with all these balloons on it.
Still on the paver.
The hopper's got about 80 empties in there.
What you guys
right down Union Road. And Mike's like shaking his head.
So that's what's funny what they operate. You go out there and everything that comes off the coffee truck just goes in the trench, and the beer cans always go in the hopper.
Oh, yeah.
It's just what it is, right?
In the hopper.
In the hopper. Just put them in the hopper. Wow. So Lake Steel. Did you run all those cranes they had there? 65s and 90s?
I never ran the 90. I never ran the lattice boom. Billy was running the lattice boom, but I ran all the other 65s, the hydraulics, the Century with the dead egg stick. Yeah. But I took a lot of the 40s out and a lot of the smaller ones out.
I remember.
I'll never forget the one day I'm pulling out with a 20-ton center mount. It might have been a P&H. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
I come out of that yard on Broadway. It's dark out. I'm driving down the road down the center mount. All of a sudden, I hear a boom, and all of a sudden, the crane almost tips over. I run something over. I don't know what it is. It's pitch dark out. I stop the crane. I look. It's the block. It come out of the saddle in the front of the crane, and I ran it over. I almost tipped the guy. I'm doing 25, 30 miles an hour. I actually, this is on Broadway Avenue. I had what am I going to do now? Well, I guess I got to get it back in there. I backed around down Broadway, unhooked it, boom up, got out, hooked the block up, and put it back in the saddle, pinned it, and took it down the road.
Nothing wrong with the cable?
No, the block come off the saddle.
It wasn't even.
I had the ball on. The spare block. It was in the saddle, and come to find out, I come back into the yard at night, and Ronzoni, who ran the shop, I said, who had the 20-ton out the night before? He said, Billy did.
Oh, boy.
I says, well, he didn't put the pin back in the saddle, and I freaking ran the block over, driving down.
Yeah.
That scared the hell out of me.
I bet it did.
Yeah.
I actually tell you the truth. That Lake Steel, if I was going to run a crane, that would have been the because you weren't stuck on something constantly. You were, one day you're taking this crane out. The rental division, it wasn't too bad. You're not swinging steel. I give them guys a lot of credit. You got to be a different breed. You want to swing steel all day long. You know what I mean? You got somebody's. To me, it's. You don't pay them enough. I mean, it's the number amount, but it's every pick you're making. It's just
I just remember
a lot of stress on you.
Oil and Air, you earned your money because didn't they have a crane that had the outriggers you had to pull out by hand or not, or was that somewhere else? Maybe not. I just remember the dead section. We went to
on the Century.
Yeah, we went to Rich Stadium and had changed the light bulb, guy in a man basket. So we get there, you got to knock the bracket apart, take the thing out, put the block on, pull the dead section out, pin it. Send the guy up in the man basket, come back down, and put all that together. I mean, pulling the dead section out and pinning it was a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we swung the jib, too. I can't remember. But you go out there with Clark, and Clark had those, it wasn't the Beckett, but it was a quick release, like it had the swedged end on the cable.
Swedge, yeah.
Yeah, so you just pull it apart, put the ball in quick, and they had enough boom. There's no dead section. I'm like, man, what a difference. But they, I'm sure Lake Steel owned every crane they had.
100%.
Yeah, they were,
yes.
Which was great.
I'm sure when you were there, they had to be near the end.
They were.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. It wasn't far from the end.
I mean, when I come back into the yard there and I talk to the old man Nuns, he'd bitching all the time about Clark.
Sure.
Clark. And then Clark got big, and they just pushed him right out. But
they would have it would be Mike and Billy were running all the time for him. Well, Mike kind of whenever he could, but Billy was always on for Billy. Then they would bring Mike Schweck in once in a while.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm he'd pull in that old Mercedes car. Like he had 5 of them things, and whenever one started, but I always wondered like how they found these guys that were just not working randomly.
Yeah.
You know?
To go run a crane.
Yeah. You know, it was weird.
The only problem with the rental business too is you're getting out with somebody that might not know anything about a crane, and they just like, I want this up there.
Yeah, roofers.
Yeah. I'm talking people just pick up the phone book.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? I got to put an air conditioner up there. They don't know how to get it up there. Oh, get a crane.
Here's a hook.
Yeah, you got to actually go out there, get off the crane, hook the damn thing up. I picked one up one time where I was in Buffalo. You know, I had to put it on top of the building. It was windy. Are we going out? I asked the salesman. He goes, yeah, they still want to go out. It's windy. All right, I get out there. Now, Nunzi used to rent all his rigging. Mm-hmm. He's owned this rigging for 50 years probably. He's still getting $50 every time he hooks it up there. Make sure he signs that piece of paper, get the paper for the rigging too. Okay. So I hook it all up and I pick it up and it starts spinning in a circle and they're all looking at me. I said, well, you got to put a line on it. I can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What do you mean? Now, none of them know signals. So you got to teach them all signals. So
remember going in the shop and they used to love to do, Sean, you never got to oil up these,
Nope.
So they did everything by hand painting. Like all their logos on their cranes were hand painted. That was all green with orange. But they had shackles like from small to bigger, and it was all painted what ton they were, and everything went back it was cool how he had it laid out. But somebody spent some time with a paintbrush.
When I got there, he was still doing pretty good. He had some nice cranes there. You know what I mean, they were enjoyable to run.
None of the cranes were junk. They were just older.
Yeah. That old P&H, I love that old 65 P&H.
Yeah, that was a nice crane.
That was back then when the load chart was all tipping. It wasn't structural. It was all capacity. The people ask you, can you pick that up? I don't know. Hook onto it and I'll see if I can pick it up. You know? Watch the hamburger. I wouldn't even look at the load chart. I'm like, I don't know.
Did you guys have LMIs on that stuff? Or any of that? None of it.
Not on the old one. The newer ones, the Century had one, but that old P&H, and I liked running that old P&H. I actually worked for John Gast a couple of times putting for Contractors Welding, putting beams up on the throughway.
Contractors Welding, that was a company?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There was did a lot of structural steel. When I was oiling for Bernie Seeley, he was actually working they had a 90-ton lime on. Me and him took that apart probably 100 times to put it back together.
Really?
Oh, every day.
Just boom out of it?
There was a lot of throughway work going on back then, and they were doing a lot of the throughway bridge. And they shut a lane down and they put the crane right down on the throughway.
Okay.
You could make the pick with a 90-ton crane with a beam. You were doing it from up. None of it was up top. They put it down below. And
real close to it.
Yeah.
Good chart at that point. Wow.
Yeah, he was out of the island. He was a good guy.
Wonder how long he was around for. When did he go out of business, I wonder?
Dan Oliveri went to work for him when he got out. I know that.
Oh.
But then I think Dan, didn't he go to HSBC at one point in time? Was he there? No?
Can't remember. The only time I got
right?
Yep.
The only time I got around Dan was either at the wind farm or we did that. I was around one time we did that federal courthouse downtown, but that might have been his last.
But I know Dan went to work for, because Dan was my actual partner when I was oiling back for Bernie Seeley. And I know Dan went to work for Contractors Welding. It's John Gast. He was out of the island. He did a lot of structural steel work.
That's a new one I never heard of. Oh, that's cool. So what? Any other crane stuff? Did you run crane at like CatCo? Or they had, because they had a 90-ton.
They had a 90-ton there. Yep. They didn't have it for too long. Long story short, I had a section of boom coming on me.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I to this day I know what happened, but
yeah, it's tough too because you're the only one that knew what happened because nobody else was doing what you were doing, and you just
When the guy ended up telling me, you know what I mean, if that light comes on, that means you lost hydraulic. There's air in the line. I'm like, oh, there you go.
He sold it. Crane's gone.
He got rid of it.
Yeah,
carpenters wouldn't work with it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, no, they told him. They were all there.
Was that an auction for a reason, right, when you bought it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got a hell of a deal on it when you bought it.
I bet you did.
I'm telling you, it came in. I was setting a
was it at night, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was setting a signpost. It was real cold at night. I was setting a signpost. I remember I had 100 foot of boom on. I remember I put 100 foot of boom on. I looked at, okay, 100 foot should be good. Swung it over. It's windy, and I had my foot on the swing brake. And the one guy gives me a signal to bump it over. I take my foot off the swing brake, and I was there, boom, and this thing landed right on all 15 studs.
All 15?
Lined right up. You couldn't do. They were trying to line them up, and it just happened to land right on.
Wow.
Right in, all 15 studs landed in them holes.
How did that?
And I thought a cable broke. It sounded like something broke, right? And all of a sudden I look, and the block's coming down. I couldn't tell that the boom was coming, and I could just see the line coming down. Then I realized
you're not moving. Everything's.
I took my foot off. I took my foot off the swing brake and went to push the swinger, and that's when I heard the boom. And all of a sudden, what happened was I had 100 foot of boom out. I'm watching, and the block's coming down. Now, this pole landed, and it still got the choker hooked to it. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, I'm watching the block come down with the choker. I don't think it's coming down fast enough. It's going to pull the pole into me because it's still hooked up.
Still hooked up to it.
Still coming down.
Right.
So I rev it up, and I give it a little bit up, and it stopped. And when I looked at the boom, it had 77 foot of boom out. So 23 foot of boom.
It came in 23. Is that a full section, or was that more than one?
It was one section. The main section came in.
The whole section came in.
Just about. Yeah.
So those didn't pin.
Whoa.
No.
Those didn't pin like a.
And the guy came to CatCo's yard. The guy came from Cleveland Crane. We hooked on the Jersey barrier, put everything out, went through it all. I can't get it to do anything. He's telling me about blah, blah. It can't do that. That much oil can't come in there. It doesn't pin. It's hydraulic. There's a check valve there. That shouldn't leak out that much. Whatever. I'm just telling you what happened. Then he goes, I started asking questions about the crane, and there's a light on that crane. And I asked him, I said,
this is a Grove, right?
Yeah, a Grove 90 ton. He goes, what's this light for? He goes, that is not factory installed. Somebody put that in. He says, the bottom line is if you get air in the system, that light will come on. He goes, if you're running and it's cold, it's warm, you get air in the system. And he told me, he says, what you do to get rid of the air is you just put the extension out a little bit, crack the extension. I go, aha.
Right there.
I looked at him and I says, is that what could happen? He said, that's the only thing that could have happened.
Wow.
And he says, somebody put that on there.
So the guy that sold it had that.
I guess.
Had the same thing happen. That's why it went to the auction.
That's the story I'm sticking to, if it's true or not. But this is what I was told.
Yeah, you couldn't pull 20 some feet.
No, I could sit there and go like that. It happened in a matter of 4 or 5 seconds, three to 5 seconds, I'd say.
So you stopped as they were able to unhook the block?
Yes. We all prayed.
Was it the only one you had to do that night, or did you have to do more?
I can't remember. I know I put up a bigger sign down the road, and then I come down and I parked it for about an hour or two, and then we put that up, and they figured that's how they got the air into the system.
Wow.
So I'm really not sure if that was the end of it or not.
That was the end of you running that crane, though, wasn't it, at CatCo?
Oh, yeah, that didn't run it. He got rid of it after that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely, he got rid of it after that, yeah.
That's probably the scariest thing you've had in the crane, then, really?
100%. Well, I can't say that.
What else?
Not me. I was oiling for Donnie Pritchard at the Huntley station. Oh, it was the middle of winter. I'll never forget. It was Benchley's 150-ton American. Mm-hmm. Put 240 foot of stick in it. 200 foot of main boom, 40 foot of boom. And
is that the one that Union Concrete has now?
It could be.
Yeah, I think they bought that.
This is probably 30 years ago.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Over 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. So probably 34 years ago. So we put all that boom in there at the Huntley station in Tonawanda. And I remember Donnie Pritchard asked Corny Benchley, he said, you got enough cable? There's, I think, 6 parts of line or 8 parts, I forget what it was, to go up and down 240 feet 8 times. Oh, yeah, we got plenty. So it's the middle of winter. We get the crane put together. He putting the block down. I'm watching the block. The block's coming down. Could it get about 3/4? It starts going back up.
You're out of
cable. So he had to revolve 1,200 feet of cable onto this thing. So we get the cable put in there. I remember it's cold out. He told me, they used to call me Hoot. And he says, Hoot, get in the back engine compartment. Take it easy back there. Yeah, I just put all this cable on. It's the middle of January. I never felt the crane tip down, but I just felt him. All of a sudden I hear him yell, and he says, Hoot, hang on. And I open up the back door. I was in the edge compartment, and I'm watching. He's booming up about as fast as he possibly can, and I felt the crane just go boom, 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 and I felt it rocking back and forth.
Oh boy!
And he boomed up so quick. The reciprocator plates that he's hooked onto was coming into him. He had to drop them on the ground.
Otherwise, it would have been.
Or they went in the cab. Yeah. Wow. And when I got out, the Boilermaker says your outriggers are about 12 foot off the ground.
12.
And we would have laid the boom across the power lines for the Huntley station.
Oh, that would have been bad.
I think we would have been. Everybody would have been
Wow.
gone.
And all he says is, "Hoot, hang on."
I'm glad he remembered to
At
tell
least he
you.
warned me because it rocked pretty good.
Wow.
You know what the funniest part of that story is? The next day, the truck pulls up, right? And then he tells me, go over there and see how many plates them guys hook on. I go over there, and the Boilermakers hook on the same amount of plates, right? I said, didn't that almost just like tip the crane over yesterday? Yeah, you're right. We ought to put half of them on. To be a crane operator, you know what I mean?
Who was the guy that you told me the story about that antifreeze at one time?
The antifreeze.
Remember the drum antifreeze? He was
Oh, Bernie. Stealing a drum of antifreeze. We were at that stadium there that I was talking about earlier, at the UB Stadium, and I got to go in and warm up. It's a crawler. I forget, it was a Manitowoc. I forget the size of it. It was a good size. It was at least a 300-ton crawler Manitowoc. I forget the size of it, but I get there before everybody else gets there. It's pretty dark out there, and the thing's in the middle of the infield, so I got to get in there and warm it up. I warm all the brakes up, and I go in there, I look over, and this 65-year-old man's rolling a 55-gallon drum of antifreeze across the infield. Tells me, "Who, get my pickup truck. We struck gold." I go, "What are you going to do with 55 gallons of antifreeze?"
He would take anything, right? You said
If it's on the deck of the crane, it's ours. I go, how many spud wrenches could you possibly own, Bernie? Them iron workers come up there, put the spud wrench in there. He wanted me to put it in the toolbox. I don't care if it goes on the deck of the crane, it's ours. You get it in the toolbox. Kleptos.
Shackles, spud wrenches.
We hit gold.
We hit gold. You guys how'd you get it back with a pickup truck? With a crane?
I had to get a skid steer. He got a piece of plywood and a couple of 2x4s, and I took a skid steer and flung it in the back of his truck. Watched, I hit the back of the truck pretty hard. I don't know how he close it up. Okay, go to work.
Wow.
We were the only crane on the job for a while, right? We were like the first crane there. We're doing all the precasts, and the carpenters would show up, and they come up, and they, "Hey, you think you could fly this up there for us?" Bernie said, $50.
He charged him $50.
Oh, yeah. And they look at him. No. He goes, "Carry it. I don't care." They come over, they give us $50. I get 10 or 20 for hooking it up, and you get the 30 for making the pick.
Wow. Wow.
That was the good
That's
old
great.
days. Oh, yeah.
That's great. So, all right, coming into the end here, you got another couple years to work, right?
Yes, sir. 2
more years you're going to work. Where's your, what do you think about your pension and career at Local 17, looking at it from like the end, getting close to the end?
I wouldn't change it for anything. It's probably the best thing my father ever did for me is point me in this direction. We were talking earlier, and I didn't even think about it, and he put me in this direction. Is great people, great career. Couldn't ask for better people or money or just the atmosphere I was working in, and my pension. It's crazy what
Throw
it
numbers
is.
at it. Don't be afraid. Brag about
It's
it.
over 6 figures.
Wow.
It's well over 6 figures.
That's going to be when you retire. When are you going to retire? Well, how old are you going to be?
I'll be, right now, I'm 57. I'll be 59. It's debatable. I'm pretty sure I'm going in 2 years, which is 59. I might go one more year if I look at it to see if it's
list
worth it.
job goes right. You're gonna
I'll be losing money.
yeah.
Yeah. Even working all that overtime. I worked every Saturday. I worked all year last year, and I worked just about every Saturday from March until December. And my pension is pushing that. So
How many hours did you get last year?
I haven't looked at it total. It's well over 2,000.
Yeah, it's got to be 2,500. Isn't it?
I would think
When did
somewhere
you
in
start?
there.
What month
Yeah.
did you start there?
Last year I worked all year.
Oh, that's right. You were there from the
I
beginning.
actually went to get
Yeah.
my W-2 from unemployment, and I collected no unemployment last year. So.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah. No, that pension. I mean, you talk to teachers, you talk to anybody. My sister's a teacher, and she tells me what her pension is. I just don't know what they did and how they did, but they did it right with their pension. I mean, it's the number one to anybody. It's the end goal is right.
Six-figure pension. Yeah. When you get to the point where, I mean, if you're working that kind of hours and you're making $100 and some $1,000 a year, and you can retire with the same wage, that's unbelievable.
It is.
That.
Yes. Yeah. It's. I left this business and I went to work for National Grid. A friend of mine talked me into coming to National Grid. Long story short.
Oh, that's right. What year was that?
Oh, 10 years, man, maybe 15 years
Right.
ago. I don't know the exact year.
You went to go try a year at the
Yeah,
grid?
I actually got taught, you know what I mean? I thought to myself at the time, I was sick of the rat race there, you know, and it just, don't get me wrong, you go to work for these contractors, they're pushing you. It's nonstop. I was looking for a steadier pace, you know, a little bit slower action. You hang out in the truck for a while, look like fun, but
Sure.
I talked to my father about it. My father says, listen, if you don't go, you'll never know. You'll always be questioning, but if you do go, you can always come back. Long story short, within a month or two, I knew it wasn't for me, and I actually showed my boss that I was going to take his job. I showed him my pension state. I told him what my pension was, and he told me, "What are you doing here?"
Right.
And it's
He had been there a while, right? He was going to
30 years.
Place? Yeah.
30 years. He was
are you
there when
doing
it was
here?
Niagara Mohawk. Before it was National Grid. Yeah, he was there 30
And we
years.
still lose guys to that place.
They don't. They look at the money, and it's another thing. They look at the money up front, but it ain't the money up front either. It doesn't make sense to me because say they get paid $50 an hour, they still got to take their health care and their pension 401k out of that. That's all they're getting is a 401k there.
No good compared to
I
what
got
we
buddies at work, you know, I ain't saying nothing bad about anything, you know, Cold Springs, I know a lot. I hunt
Sure.
a lot of bunch of guys with Cold Springs, and they'll tell me, you know, I'm going to retire a millionaire. I'm thinking, fuck, that's spent the first 7 years. I go, you're only going to live 7 years? What are you going to, you know, I need more than $1 million, I guess.
Right, $1 million in 7 years,
Yeah, but no, you cannot, I can't, I wouldn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm very happy at the outcome of everything. Yeah, I really feel blessed. I thank my father for everything.
Yeah, that's
Definitely,
awesome.
100%.
Yeah, that's great. It really is. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up. You got anything else you want to talk about?
No.
All right.
So
well,
these younger apprentices coming in early 20s, that's when you got in. Now you got 30 some years in. If you had some advice or something to tell them, what would it be? You know, after working all these years, coming in the same age as them, what would your advice to be after?
Work the overtime when you're young because you won't want to do it when you get old.
Fair enough.
Nah, keep your head down. Every day you can learn something. I don't know. It's funny. You're only what you make yourself out to be. You know what I mean? You gotta be positive about everything, and there's always somebody else better than you out there. You just keep learning and pay attention to everything. And the God's honest truth is, I used to, like when I was with Hasley, I was working 100 hours. I kid you not, I was working 90 to 100 hours a week. I was working 7 days a week, 14 to 15 hours a day, usually 12 hours on Sundays. Everybody says, well, you're doing it for Uncle Sam. I says, nah, I'm doing it for my pension. And I'm glad I did it.
everybody forgets.
Your pension, I'm doing it for my pension.
Yep.
Everything's by hours, so and you'll never know. You know, we're living great. I hope it keeps going, but you never know. Times could be tough. Get it while you can get it, 100%.
Great.
Hours. Get as many as you can. That's my advice.
All right. Well, thanks, Hank, for coming on. I appreciate it. Thanks, Sean,
Yep,
for
thanks,
being
Hank.
here.
Thank you.
We're going to wrap this one up and check us out on the web, local17.com, and Facebook, local17, and like and share as always. Thank you for being here.